I would request HOD Architecture, Dr. Raminder Kaur, to please present a bouquet and registration kit to our esteemed guest and distinguished guest, Professor Anurag Roy. I request students to please give them a huge round of applause. Now I request HOD Architecture, to kindly present the bouquet and the registration kit to architect Venkateshwar Raja B, our expert for the Niche IPM 2025. Everyone, please give him a huge round of applause. For the Niche IPM 2025, we will be joined by eminent guests and speakers for the event of 2 days. Our chief guest, Professor Charanjit Singh Shah, Director, Creative Group, New Delhi, a visionary architect known for pioneering sustainable and large-scale infrastructure design in India, also known as the Airport King of India. We'll be joined by architect Gajanand Ram, Vice President, Council of Architecture India, a leading voice in advancing architectural education and professional standards nationwide. Architect Jeet Kumar Gupta, former advisor, Town Planning Punjab, an eminent urban planner and policy expert promoting sustainable and inclusive city development. Major General Balwinder Singh, guest of honor, convener in TAC Punjab chapter dedicated to conserving India's rich architectural and cultural heritage. Professor Anurag Roy, visiting faculty, School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, a researcher, a educator committed to sustainable urban and environmental planning. Dr. Pankaj Chhabra, Professor and Head, GNDU Amritsar, an academic leader fostering architectural research and design excellence. Dr. Meenakshi Singhal, GNDU Amritsar, an urban design expert advocating equitable and climate resilient urban spaces. Architect Sanjay Goyal, Principal Architect, Design Architects, Ludhiana, known for his contemporary architecture practice rooted in regional communities and previously holds the position of Director of Ludhiana Smart City. Engineer Gautam Aswani, Director IN at Global, Noida, Sustainability Consultant specializing in green building rating systems and environmental certification. Architect Bharat Rolania, Earth Building Architects Ladakh, our LSAD alumnus, practitioner of sustainable architecture inspired by indigenous materials. Architect B. Venkateshwar Raja, an architect from Madurai, expert in integrating digital technologies and responsive systems environments. So for our eminent guests and speakers, these will be the people who will be joining us for the next 2 days for over 5 workshops and that will be done starting from today from second half. We shall shortly be joined by our guest of honor, Major General Balwinder Singh, our respectable Vice Chancellor, LPU Dr. Jaspal Sandhu, and Dr. Monica Gulati Ma'am, Registrar LPU. And then we shall start with the inaugural session of NISH IPM. So once they enter the auditorium, I request all the students, faculty, and our guests to please give them a standing ovation and a welcome at the time of their arrival. Thank you. I would request the IT team to kindly play the school video. Meanwhile, we'll be joined by our guest shortly. So kindly play the school video for the guest and the students. Nature has found a niche, a perfect harmony of balance. Man needs to find his niche, his perfect balance where he fits in the natural cycle. We have amongst us our an honorable guest, dignitaries and galaxy of intellectuals for the inaugural session of the sixth New International Conference on Habitable Environments and International Professional Meet NISH IPM 2025. Please welcome them with a huge round of applause. Please welcome Major General Barvinder Singh, our guest of honor, respectable Vice Chancellor LPU Dr. Jaspal Sandhu, and Dr. Monica Gulati Ma'am, Registrar LPU.
Before we officially commence, let us extend our heartfelt gratitude to the visionaries and distinguished personalities shaping this momentous occasion. As a token of appreciation, we will now present bouquet to our esteemed guests.
Now, I would request Dr. Monica Gulati Ma'am, Registrar LPU, to please present bouquet to our guest of honor, Major General Barvinder Singh. I request everyone to give them a huge round of applause, please. I would also request Dr. Monica Gulati Ma'am to present a token and present bouquet to our respectable Vice Chancellor LPU, Dr. Jaspal Sandhu. Everyone, please give them a huge round of applause. Now, I would request our conference convener, Dr. Tara Singla, to present a bouquet to our registrar, Dr. Monica Gulati Ma'am. I thank all the dignitaries and our guests for sparing their valuable time and joining us for the inaugural session for NISH IPM 2025. It is critical for us to cultivate consciousness and compassion towards our environment, create awareness, galvanize people, and build sustainable innovations for sustainable development. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and fellow participants and dear students. What a wonderful morning it is to be gathered here today. It is with immense pleasure that I, Architect Ram Sharma,
And I, Harshita Roy, stand before you today to welcome you to all sixth edition of New International Conference on Habitable Environment and International Professional Meet 2025, organized by Lovely School of Architecture and Design. This gathering marks a significant milestone in our shared quest for knowledge, innovation, and sustainable solutions for the challenge facing the planet. It is our honor to welcome you all to this global platform for exchange and collaboration.
this conference brings together experts, scientists, scholars, professionals, and visionaries from across the globe. It transcends geographical boundaries, disciplinary limitations, and political divide to create a space where ideas can flourish and solutions can be born. In this era of interconnectedness, it is only fitting that we gather here to collaborate and learn from one another.
Lovely Professional University is one of the premier institution of India with a gigantic and ultra-modern high-tech campus spread over 600 acres on the outskirts of Jalandhar city, with more than 35,000 students, 4,000 faculties and staff, offering more than 200 programs. The university is accredited with highest grade of NAC A++ with a score of 3.68 on the scale of 4. In the NIRF Indian ranking 2025, Lovely Professional University is ranked 31st amongst all government and private universities in India. LPU envisions the achievement of organizational goals not only by conferring education for excellence but also through elevating the level of thinking and attitude of its student by inculcating in them the values of inventiveness, entrepreneurship, and service to society by making practical use of their learning received.
The sixth edition of the Niche IPM 2025 is centered around five thematic tracks that echoes India's vision for sustainable growth and global leadership in climate action. These include inclusive and health communities, economic development across rural and urban landscapes, AI and automation for smart environments, strengthening and governance for sustainability, and India's leadership in sustainable development goals, showcasing the nation's global contributions to UN sustainable development goals. Together, these tracks celebrate innovation, inclusivity, and sustainability for a resilient future. Over the next 2 days, as a part of the sixth Niche IPM 2025, Lovely School of Architecture and Design is organizing a series of five immersive workshops designed to blend hands-on learning and with innovative thinking. These workshops aim to strengthen practical understanding of sustainable design, material innovation, technological integration, and safety protocols among students, researchers, and professionals. Now, I would like to invite our esteemed guest, distinguished guests, and worthy dignitaries for the official niche lighting ceremony. I request the student ambassadors to please escort the guests and dignitaries. This is an installation which is designed by the faculty and the students of Lovely School of Architecture and Design as a take on technology and an ever evolving world of design and architecture. So please everyone give them a huge round of applause as they do the official lighting for the niche IP. So,
Yes. Good morning, LSAD. Still not there. Good morning, LSAD. Good morning, ma'am. That's wonderful. Thank you. A very good morning to all of you today. We welcome all of you to NISH IPM. Respected Vice Chancellor Sir, Dr. Jaspal Singh Sindhu, our guest of honor for NISH, Major General Balwinder Singh, Convener Intact Punjab, our Registrar LPU, Monica Gulati ma'am, and our worthy professors, Professor Anurag Roy and Professor Jeet Kumar Gupta. We welcome you all, sir. Thank you so much for being here today. As I stand before you on behalf of our Executive Dean, Chief Architect LPU, and also our Head of School, Dr. Architect Atul Kumar Singla, it is imperative for me to address a very important question here that we always ask at every niche. So, what is your niche? Niche has two different meanings for everybody here. Some people think that it is a small haven which they descend to, which is apart from all their worries, where they can just huddle and hide. And some people think of niche as their expertise, their learnings of life. Today at Niche IPM, we stand here at the confluence of those two meanings. For students, it is an opportunity to come out of their niches and explore what they have ahead of them. And for all the experts, industry professionals, and academicians, we have an opportunity to allow them to be humble and joyful enough to encourage all these students to become learners so that they can flourish their skills what they have today. Niche, as we always say, we've abbreviated it from the word NEO International Conference for Habitable Environments and International Planners Meet. So that makes Niche IPM. Today, as I stand before you, I'm proud to say that the school has been doing this endeavor for the past 12 years now, and we have come to its 6th edition. You can give yourself a round of applause for that. We are honored today to host industry experts, academicians, and policymakers. And you know what is the best thing? Does anybody know what is the best thing? Three of them are your alumni. So soon amongst, yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that applause. So soon amongst us would be Mr. Sagar Sethia, who is DC Moga. We already have amongst us BVR, who's a rage on LinkedIn for his artificial intelligence workflows. And we also have amongst us arriving tomorrow for a very good workshop, sustainable workshop, Bharat Rulania, who has been recently awarded by Sonam Wangchuk. So please give these seniors of yours a big, huge round of applause. At LPU, students are the centrum of whatever we do. This is possible only because of the vision of our Honorable Chancellor and Member of Rajya Sabha, Dr. Ashok Kumar Mittal, and our worthy Pro-Chancellor, Dr. Colonel Rashmi Mittal. Their vision has carved a niche in the society, or I should say the world, that extends far and beyond. So far and beyond that even today, as we inaugurate this event, our head of school represents LPU on a global platform at the Ural Federal University, Russia. LPU continues to be a breeding ground for innovation and success, carrying forward our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's call for Jai Anusandhan, which he added when he came to LPU for the Indian Science Congress.
The university since then has done many initiatives for the betterment of the students. Through EduRev, with the education revolution, we are empowering students with hands-on learning, industry interactions, and entrepreneurial skills, preparing them to be leaders, not just after their degrees, but from day one. I would also like to add that niche also represents the same. Today, niche allows you to come out of your little safe places and explore something new with all these experts. So I can proudly say that each one of you sitting here is special for us. Our students, our faculty, our experts, and our worthy dignitaries. Everybody has something to share, something to learn from. So, with that, I wish you a very happy niche, happy learning. Thank you so much.
A
Thank you so
heartfelt
much, Dr. Tara Singla, for such an insightful and warm welcome. Every design tells a story, and every institution's journey is a testimony to its leadership. We are privileged to hear from a leader whose guidance has transformed education at LPU. Please welcome our Vice Chancellor, respectable Dr. Jaspal Sandhu, to share his words of wisdom on the dais. Please welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I'm an orthopedic surgeon by profession, so architecture is like rocket science for me, but still I have certain issues which I'd like to raise in this conference itself. See, I had the privilege of going to Dalhousie last week, and the kind of destruction I saw on the way to Dalhousie was something which actually broke my heart. The roads have turned down, the buildings have collapsed, there's much degradation in the sustainable at all. Similarly, we had another opportunity to go to Shimla recently. I remember we were small little kids, we would go to Shimla, and the moment we crossed Parwan, it was full of forest cover. And the trees, which were 2,000 years old, they stood magnificently tall and beautiful. But if you see the landscape now, it's full of buildings, the degraded uh, hills, and the JCBs working all around. So I remember as small little kids, there were trees which were planted. Little kids, there were trees which were planted by the Britishers on the Mall Road, which were 200 years old, 300 years old, and they gave us. That campaign was started by the Honorable Prime Minister a long time back. And do you really feel it is working? It's not working. He has regretted everything, but it needs. They have a story. They charge for the story. Here we are degrading the. They have a story. They charge for the story. Here we are degrading our heritage in such a manner that we're destroying it day in and day out. This conference which you are conducting today, this is going to be eye opener for you and a sensing episode for you, so that you really understand what is required to be done in the near future, and you maintain yourself. One of those breaks was that they kept the building cool. We didn't need to have air conditioning or collaborations. We just like that. We get about 4, 5, 600 friends all over the world, right from Brazil to France to Russia to Hong Kong to Japan. But then the reason why that is because I attended these kind of conferences, and I was not shy enough to ask them the questions, and I would really get it, and I'll pester them directly. Some of them would respond because they're senior people. You write a mail to them once, they wouldn't respond. Maybe write second time, write third time. Be persistent, and ultimately they will respond, because everybody has a human heart. So he thinks that he will respond, and they'll probably get in touch with you, and you can really evolve with that. Have a nice conference, and not only the conference in academics. Enjoy this. So I hear you're going to have a culture evening tomorrow, and enjoy that too. To be serious to what till the serious topics are being discussed, something which is going to be lasting for the next generations. You're going to follow you. You are a generation which is very well evolved, and you can really do wonders for environment, for sustainable habitat, and for good living. The most important thing in a human's life is good living. He should have a good house to live in, and he should have good food to eat. And that means half the things you are looking after. If you have a good house, it's neat, clean, good environment which doesn't have garbage around it, and it has flowers all around, then obviously. So thank you so much. It's an honor being part of this inaugural ceremony, and have a good Congress. Thank you.
We extend our heartfelt thank you, Dr. Jaspal Singh Sandhu, for your truly inspiring and thought evoking address. Your words have not only set a clear direction but also have instilled a deeper sense of purpose as we begin our journey through Niche 2000.
Recipient as our guest of honor today, Major General Vilvinder Singh, retired. He is an esteemed alumnus of the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, and the National Defence College, New Delhi, and PEC, Chandigarh. Engineer by profession with a distinguished career in Indian Army, he has held diverse operational, instructional, and administrative appointments across key locations in India, including J&K, Leh Ladakh, Arunachal Pradesh, and Rajasthan.
Seasoned leader, he commanded his unit during the peak of militancy in Jammu and Kashmir and has the rare distinction of serving on almost all active borders of the country. Academically accomplished, he holds a Master's in Defense Management and an MPhil in Management and Strategic Studies. Beyond his military service, Major General Singh has contributed significantly to the civil domain. He has served as a national member of the Logistics Council of the Confederation of Indian Industry, a visiting speaker at Punjab University, Chandigarh, and a jury member for the PhD Chamber of the Commerce and Industry.
An accomplished sportsperson, he is a national rowing single scull champion, a state golf champion, and an avid basketball and squash player. Presently, he serves as the Punjab state convener of the Indian National Trust for Art and Culture Heritage in TAC, where he passionately engages in preserving and promoting Punjab's rich cultural heritage. We are honored to have you, sir. I would like to invite you on the dais for your address. Please give him a huge round of applause.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my proud privilege to be here today. The gathering, which is not only India, but as a pan-international. Whatever you learn from here, you are going to be ambassador to your place for carrying out a part of the duties which would be assigned to you during your future career. Being a soldier, I have been primarily I commanded. Primarily, I must tell you because when I was coming, I was seeing the students who are there. I commanded the troops totally from the south, and I have no doubt there are many students who are from south, and I have a lot of honestly, I have a lot of respects and a lot of interaction with them, and they are one of the troops of our country. Of course, as far as my biodata is concerned, it has been announced, it has been told. But I will not talk about that issue. I'll talk about what I'm doing it presently. As it was defined that presently I'm a convener of Punjab State for preservation and conservation of our art, culture, and heritage. I have been interacting with the LPU quite a bit, especially the architect department. Some of the students, earlier students, they have carried out the listing of some of the our monuments. We will start again after this top to me primarily it was the exactly the place. I personally feel this which for you engineers, architect engineers, I'm an engineer by profession, but not of course architect engineer. I did from Chandigarh. And as far as the culture, I've been told that as far as the session is concerned, that will be later. It is just talking to you. I'm very, very sure about it as far as this international forum, which has been planned, is going to be one of the most learning process. And I'm very sure that when you go home after finishing to your hostel or back home, you will be a different person altogether after you finish your both days session. I think such kind of exposure which the LPU is giving you, this is what it matters as far as the students are concerned. And I personally feel I have been interacting with the students because it's a part of my duty as a state convener of the INTAC to deal with the students at the younger age and give the importance of our cultural heritage. I am very, very sure we have a lot of professionals who have come here. I was going through the complete program, and I'm very sure about it that you, all of you, once you finish both the days, it is going to be a different story altogether in your minds and in your upcoming in the future. Thank you so much.
To you, sir, for taking out your time and sharing your invaluable insights with us today. Your words have truly left a lasting impact and will continue to inspire our future endeavors. Thank you. Now, I would like to request our dignitaries to kindly take the first row seats on the first row as we are going to commence with our expert session. Meet Continuing with the keynote session, we
consultant with SAI Consulting Engineers. He has also prepared master plans for the cities like Srinagar and Amritsar. He is also advisor to the Feedback Infra for the Punjab Urban Development Mission. He holds degree in architecture, law, urban development, regional planning, public administration. He is a respected academic and a thoughtful leader who has published over 140 papers in international and national journals. And he is author of the book entitled as Making and Unmaking of Chandigarh Capital City. He is associated with the Chandigarh Citizen Foundation and is recognized as an influential figure in shaping urban development and architecture education in India, particularly in relation to the planning and evolution of Chandigarh.
Please welcome him on the stage with a huge round of applause for his first keynote session for Nish IPM 2025. The topic for architect Jeet Kumar Gupta's session would be Compact City as a Design Philosophy to Make Cities Sustainable, Livable, and Productive.
We can move from here also. Good morning, architects and planners. Let me place on record my gratitude and my thanks to make me and space me in the niche which you are organizing at Lovely Professional University. I'm grateful to Lovely Professional LPU for giving me this opportunity to interact and to share my understanding about what a city is, what are the problems of city, and how we as an architect and planners we can make cities better places to live. My presentation will be focused on pleading the case of a compact city as an option to make urban India more sustainable. I will be going through the journey of explaining you the role and importance of cities, the challenges posed by cities, and the peculiar situation in which India is placed, and what will be the option, and that is what I'm going to speak to before you. Let me narrate you what cities are. Cities are difficult to understand. Cities are complex to decipher. Cities have dualities and contradiction. And this UN Habitat report sums up the positivity and negativities of the city. Please hear it just with attention and tell you what these cities are. Cities contain order and chaos. In them reside beauty and ugliness,
virtue and vice. They can bring out best or worst in humankind. They are a physical manifestation of history and culture. They are incubators of innovation, industry, technology, entrepreneurship, and creativity. Cities are materialization of humanity's noblest ideas, ambition, and aspirations. But when not planned or governed properly, they can be repositories of society's ill. Cities drive national economies by creating wealth, enhancing social development, and providing employment. But they can also be breeding ground for poverty, exclusion, and environmental degradation. So please look at this image. This tells you total positivity and negativity of urban areas. If the urban areas are consuming less land surface, promoting 70% of the economy, they are also responsible for energy consumption, greenhouse gases emission, and also global waste. Cities are a repository of slums because globally it has been seen 1/4 of the people living in cities are living in slums. You have a problem of transportation, you have just COVID, 90% of the COVID cases were happening in the urban areas. Cities are short of open spaces, and majority of people dying in these cities are because of air pollution. So cities are consuming energy, cities are emitting carbon dioxide. So looking at the context, city remains a man-made and mechanical habitat. City destroys natural habitat and remain antithesis to biodiversity. City is a home to migrants, large migrants, and slums are, you know, following cities as a shadow. Cities remain in crisis, both natural and man-made. And the Indian urbanization to can sum up, is a crisis of urbanization, poverty, pollution, and population, Cities are never static, they're always evolving, devolving. But city will continue to dominate humanity in the years to come. So if cities are responsible for global warming, climate change, and as rising footprints, I think cities deserve to be given more attention. City needs to be made more biodiverse, productive, sustainable, livable, happy and healthy places to just live and work, Cities, when you look at, is the context of population. And in India, we are the most populated country in the world. We are growing. Every 1 second somebody is born in India. Every 3 seconds somebody is dying. Every 2 seconds we are adding one, Every year we are adding Australia to our population. So India is going to grow rapidly. It is said by 2063 will be 1.71 billion as against 1.46 billion when we stabilize and our population will start decreasing. Cities, I said, are important for the reason they will house more population, they will provide employment, they will attract investment, they will provide best of infrastructure and services, they remain icon of productivity, and majority of wealth will be generated by cities, But when you look at the negativity of the cities, cities are always short of green spaces, they are prone to disasters, they have a problem of global warming, there is a problem of traffic and transportation, cities believes in exclusion, and you find majority of people are excluded from the basic services, and the quality of life remains as a premium. And I said urbanization of India has been called the urbanization of population, poverty, and pollution. So when you look at the context of Indian urbanization, you find the cities are sprawling, they're melting. You find slums are rubbing shoulder with the best of the housing, you are finding there is unplanned and irrational growth and development of cities. You're always in problem when you're traveling, because traffic and travel has been the two worst gifts of urbanization. We are short of open spaces as against 9 square meter by defined by WHO. We are only having 2.7 square meter per person. We are short of trees. Look at, we have only 28 trees per person as against Canada, 10,163 trees. Cities are getting flooded. Cities are having poor quality of life. We have a problem of water. The garbage remains another kind of challenge for all of us, and we are polluting at liberty our water sources. So these are the major issues which are facing majority of the cities. But as professional, I would like to architects and planners these two issues which must be flagged. Number one, we're housing the largest population in the world. We'll continue to house largest population in the world in the years to come. But please understand, where is this population is to be housed. India has only 2.2% of the global land. We have 17.78% of the population. The equation before you is 2.2 is equal to 17.8% 8%, because all these human beings, they are to be housed, they have to be educated, they have to be taken medical care, they have to be provided employment, they need to be fed. This will all come from the earth itself. So therefore 2.2 is equal to 17.8%. I think this equation needs to be solved. And it can only be solved by architects and planner. And we must understand India is the most land-stressed country. Look at globally, Russia has 10% of the global land. Global land is 1490 lakh square kilometer, and we have only 32. Russia has 10% of the world land, they have 15 crore population. America has 33 crore population, but 96 lakh square kilometer. So therefore you can think of the land remains not a commodity. Land is to be treated as a gift of nature. And this is for you, since you will be all dealing with the land, you have to make sure land is preserved, conserved, and made value addition rather than treated as a commodity. Second, in terms of water, we have only 4% water, again 17.8% population, and we have 550 million animals, the largest animal force in the world. So the water remains at premium, and that's what the challenge is. So therefore, you can see in India still there are 35 million people who lack access to safe water. 678 million people lack access to the safe toilet, and when they, all are fed with the waterborne WCs, you can see what the consumption of water level shall be. So land and water, they are the two gifts of nature. They should be treated accordingly, and they should be preserved, conserved, etc. Looking at the context of land, what are the options available to India when you have to have 17.8% population and you have to feed them, you have to have so you are becoming third largest economy of the world. You have to provide best quality of life. I think you look at the city, I explained to you, the cities are melting, cities are sprawling. Once the cities are, melting, the distance between place of work and place of living is increasing. With the result, more and more cars are inducted, and you are having, greenhouse gases. Unfortunately, we as architects and planner, we are planning for vehicle, not for people. We are promoting mobility, not accessibility. That remains the problem with us, in these cities. And you look at what is the land available with us, it is only 2,000 square meter per capita which is available with us. And this is what the land which is with us for all your living, for all your working, for all your human needs, So therefore, I think we look at the option that let's make the cities more compact. Let them have the minimum area to be used, A compact city is, as a concept of planning, remains a high density city, is promoted by mixed land use. It has an efficient public transportation. It remains more sustainable and provide you living environment. It minimizes urban sprawl, It is not a new concept. There are cities like Tokyo. There are cities like Copenhagen and Barcelona, which are doing their own experiment. And look at this. When you look at the compact city, they are defined by distinct character in terms of density. You have the best of the land use. You have minimum transportation. You are promoting mobility by walking, not by driving. You have best of the energy conservation. People are walking. There is minimum of pollution. So people are slowly more interactive. Cities are more sustainable. There is limitation of urban sprawl. There are minimization of cars. The quality of infrastructure remains very, very good, and the cost remains minimum, So therefore, compact city as a concept and approach to urban planning offer you numerous advantage in terms of conserving land, making city of shorter distance, reducing number of vehicles, lowering your energy consumption, and making cities more inclusive. So when you look at the concept of planning of compact city, I think we must lay down and define our agenda, how this new concept is going to be make a distinct reality. I think that for that, we have to change the form. We have to opt for mixed land use. We have to promote high density. We have to minimize area under roads, We have to optimize the land, and we have to use land on the principle of 24 by 7 by 365, And there has to be multiple use of available facility, rationalizing public norms, and amending bylaws. So when you look at the compact city, it is a city which is promoting high density. It's a city where building is inside, not outside, building vertical, not horizontal, building high, not low, building mixed, not pure, building dense, not shallow, building accessibility and not mobility, building for people, not for vehicle, and optimizing available infrastructure. So therefore, I think a compact city which makes you available within a walking distance. It makes a city of 10 minutes, it can make you a city of 15 minutes. So globally, this has been used as one of the options to optimize and the land and our resources, plus minimizing the discomfort arising of the major problems. It is not that the planners and the people are not thinking about cities. So cities are being seen from years to come. We have seen there are 10 cities. There are an inclusive city, intelligent city, resilient city. You had a sustainable city, you green city, smart cities. And as a result, we came out with garden city, linear city, industrial city, vertical city. We come to compact city. And let me tell you, urban planning and architecture remains very, very important and critical if these cities are to be made more sustainable, livable, energy efficient, and eco-friendly. So number one, this is the model of a compact city. Compact city model is based on what? That everything is available in a walking distance. So this circle remains one of the most efficient because it has minimum circumferences but maximum of the area. Transit-oriented development has been globally used, particularly in the city like Curitiba, and to make the city dense, You can go for brownfield development. There is enough option within the city when the cities are evolving. So you can use, city need the land need to be used and reused. There are derelict areas, there are derelict buildings. They can all be redefined by new kind of things. You can intensify the land so as to make more people accommodate here. The New York City has done the intensification by, allowing the rooftops for housing the people who are there, who are coming from outside. Singapore has done away with all these individual housing. They have gone from plotted to flatted development. Chandigarh has already been a system of redensification because you can see, the first phase was built by 150,000 people at a density of hardly 41% per hectare. Stage 2 was 350,000 people with an area of 6,000 acre at a density of 144%. And Corbusier said when he was told what happens when the city grows after 500,000, when it achieves its population, design population, it was told the city will not be expanded. City will be redensified. And this stage 1 that was having only 100,000 people in 9,000 acre, they will be redensified to accommodate addition population, but no additional area will be added. Vacant area in the city, they are the option which give you for densification. You go for flatter development instead of plotted development. This will make city dense. And we have already said Delhi and other cities are, just occupying or adopting the transit-oriented development to make city dense and compact. But I think as architects, now the cities are not going to be plots. Cities are not going to be roads. Cities are going to be defined by a built environment. And here I place before you is a concept which was designed by an architect. This is known as Ultima Tower. This is 2-mile high tower. This has 500 stories. It has an enclosure of 156 sectors of Chandigarh. And it has been planned, designed, the building design is already in place. You can understand, please understand how much population this single building can have. 1 million people can be housed in, The entire city of Chandigarh can be housed in this Ultima Tower, Entire Amritsar can be housed in one building. So look at this, these buildings. These buildings are not buildings. They are like cities, They will eliminate all problem of transportation, mobility. They will all provide your living, working in the same place. You will have enough open space left around you because you are only densifying this space. This is a concept, but there is already in Jeddah, in Saudi Arabia, 1-mile high tower is being constructed. It will house a population of 80,000. If the building can be multi-story, why can't this city be multi-story? So on the floor of the ground floor, on the plane of this, you have all buildings, you have all streets, you have open spaces, all your mobility, all your services, they can all go underground. This can, look at that you can define the city in terms of not individual building, but multi-level cities where people are living on the surface, where all service, all mobility, that's being served from the lower level. This is, we have been talking of skyscraper. Now there is a concept of earth scraper. Why you go up, you go down. This is already done in Mexico. And this was in a heritage area where they have a large open spaces. They want to add more spaces. They never destroyed the fabric of the heritage, So they maintained the heritage, but the large open space was utilized for creating an earthscape. And can you believe it? This is 300 meters down, This is 65 story, in which You have a housing, you have a museum, you have a shopping center, and you have all retail therein and best of the place. So this is going to be reality. This is going to have, all natural resources to fund it, So this is what, it looks to be when you are going to have this earth scraper. I will conclude my presentation that if the cities are to be made more livable, least consumers of energy resources, least generator of waste, they are to be carbon neutral, and they are antidote to the climate change, global warming, and rising footprints, They have to be supporter of environment ecology. They have to be human environment centric. They are to be made as happy and healthy places to live. I think compact city remains as a role model for you to look at, for to explore the option, for to do the research. And I can tell you, the future city shall be defined more by architects than by planners and by engineers. So as architects and planners, I think you have a role and responsibility to look at where the India is passing through, what is the resources available, what are the challenges before us. We don't have to use land as a commodity. So conserving land, providing best of the living spaces, providing quality of life to everybody. And I think that's the mandate. And it can only be done by you professional architects and engineers. It has been already concluded without architects, who are the creator and planners, who are the initiator and creator of the built environment, this world can never ever achieve the goals of sustainability. So therefore, I leave it here to your wisdom, to your thoughts. Please look critically and objectively your role and responsibility. And I hope and wish, you will do a great job coming from a great institution of lovely professional university. I think we will have the best of the solution. Thank you. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. For that, I'm glad to announce that we have something truly special in store for you.
I request the stage conduct team to kindly draw the curtains.
Please join us in the and welcome our performances on stage as they take us on the journey of grace, tradition, and timeless expressions of classical dance.
So please welcome our classical dance performance with a huge round of applause, everyone.
जनजीवनं वनपि
classical dance performance, which was a tribute to the harmony between art, culture, and design. Moving forward with the expert session for Nish IPM 2025 inaugural session, the next expert that we have amongst us, Professor Anurag Roy. The topic for his talk will be global warming, potential of buildings for a healthy environment. Professor Anurag Roy is a senior architect and academician with over 4 decades of experience in professional practice and architectural education. A graduate of the School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, he has held major leadership positions, including principal at Gateway College of Architecture and Design, design chair at Shushan School of Art and Architecture, and dean at multiple institutions in Delhi.
Through his practice, Roy and partners, he has led several landmark national and international projects, including works for Vigyan Bhavan, the Taj Group of Hotels, Indira Gandhi International Airport, Calcutta Airport, and major institutional and commercial developments. He also brings international experience from his architectural work in Qatar. He has been nominated by the Council of Architecture as expert member to advise the Ministry of Non-Conventional Energy Sources and has contributed as an advisor to the Bureau of Indian Standards. His research on energy efficient architecture and his papers presented at PLE, SARC, and Arcacia reflect his commitment to sustainable and climate responsive design. Professor Roy has also served as a jury member for several national and international architectural competitions and continues to play an active role in architectural discourse across the country.
I would request the volunteers to kindly escort Professor Roy to the dais for his expert talk. Please welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Good morning and Sat Sri Akal to all of you. As a good student, I got my notes also, but as an old man, I forgot my spectacles, so wouldn't be able to read properly. Please pardon me for that. In the inaugural session, I think learned people, your Vice Chancellor also made a note of it, that what we basically desire is a clean air and a pure, clean drinking water. And I came from Delhi, I can understand what a clean air is. Where the levels are so high, the doctor told me to leave the city as soon as possible. And this was an opportunity to come here and share the experiences and learn from the wise people here and be free from the pollution of Delhi. That is how important your clean air is. And as the story goes, the trees of Delhi were so upset with this pollution and they decided to leave Delhi. And they thought they will meet at India Gate to decide where to go next. And it was very unfortunate that out of 40% of the trees couldn't come out of their roots because they were all put in concrete. Half of them were all suffocating. They couldn't even travel. And some of them who did try to travel fainted on the way. So the meeting did not happen. And this is such an important issue of our clean air for a healthy living. And I congratulate LPU for organizing wonderful sessions to share the knowledge on these various aspects of sustainability. I think today's main concern, it has gone. कहाँ होता है? I think today's main concern not only is the environment and the climate change, the terrorism. These are the two things which are a cause of worry for all of us. I think we as architects and professionals, I don't think we have much to do about terrorism, but certainly as far as the climate change is concerned, that is the main concern for us. You know, hospitals who claim to provide health facilities are merely providing medical facilities, you know. Do they give us clean drinking water? Do they give us clean air? I think we as professional architects, planners, and environmentalists are responsible to give you clean air and clean water and clean resources for health. So I think it is we are responsible to provide ethical design solutions for a healthier environment. You know why these carbon dioxide emissions are important? Because worldwide, you know, the buildings are responsible for over 40% of the greenhouse gases which are responsible for the climate change. So our responsibility becomes much more. And your VC sir was also talking about, you know, when he saw this in Dalhousie, all the buildings have collapsed. You know, the roads have gone. Who is responsible for all that? Nature is not responsible, but unfortunately, we have underestimated the joys of coexisting with nature. We have forgotten to live with nature and we are destroying every evidence of nature. And if we do that, this is what happens, which has seen disasters and calamities all over the country. You know, the traditional architecture, if you see, all cities and all areas in traditional architecture, they had responded by providing passive strategies for human comfort without making any compromises and understanding the long-term gains of a cleaner environment. Whether they are the Havelis of Jaisalmer, whether they are the courtyard houses of Shahjahanabad, or the Baulis of Jaipur and other areas of hot climatic zones, I mean, they have tried to create those ethical design solutions for human comfort without sacrificing and degrading the environment. Even if you look at this Sawan Bhado at Orcha, you know how intelligently all the basement is cooled down by a very simple process of these chimney effects and your vent effect. But today we are intelligent people. We are so much knowledgeable with so much of options and possibilities of technology and material. We are still on the state of a confusion to decide what is right for us. And what we end up is building up these glass boxes all over the country in the hot climate areas, knowing very well that these structures do not fit into our local climate. And they are so high energy intensive buildings, not only do they consume a lot of electricity, but they throw a lot of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. I mean, it is just like building igloos in the desert, which doesn't make any sense. I think we are forgetting the fundamental design principles of sustainability by giving structures like this. When do we talk about providing clean air, one has to minimize on the carbon dioxide emissions. And these buildings, because they are high energy intensive, they throw a lot of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. What are these buildings doing? Are these buildings not the terrorists of our profession? I call them terrorists because they are destroying every moment and every clarity and cleanliness of the air, which is very, very unfortunate. You know, this global warming, there's no sound in this. Sounds. It's only my sound, not their sound. Yeah, this one. तो नहीं तो सो जाएंगे ना तो थोड़ा साउंड होगा जाग जाएंगे. Make it right. Sorry to have woken you up. You know, when you talk about global warming, yes, you talk about climate change, it is not only the temperature which worries me. You know, it is relocating the climates from one place to another, and we are not prepared for that. And that is a big problem for this climatic change. And Donald Trump says, nothing doing, there is no climate change. And he has stopped all grants to the universities to do research on climate change. I don't know, there must be some sense in his saying so, but maybe I'm not able to understand that. But the carbon dioxide emissions, I think, is important we have to stop that because our buildings are responsible to a large extent, and it changes not only the climate, it relocates the climate. Now
desperately tried to build to get to the receding shoreline. Making mistakes in our dealings with nature can have bigger consequences now because our technologies are often bigger than the human scale. When you put them all together, they've made us a force of nature. And this is also a political issue. This is a computer map of the world that distorts to show the relative contributions to global warming. In our country, we are responsible for more than all of South America, all of
these
Africa,
are
all of the
clips from
Middle
the
East,
movie
all of
Inconvenient
Asia,
Truth. It is
all
the Al Gore
combined.
of US who is
The
talking
per
about.
capita average in Africa, India, China, Japan, EU, Russia, there's where we are, way, way above everyone else. If you take population,
Happy to note that ma'am has requested me to play the movie again. I feel so proud of that. And every time, you know, the speaker comes here, Charanjit sir is here or not? On the way, fine, you know. Every speaker who comes, I don't know why they are fond of frogs. Every presentation has a mention of a frog. So I thought maybe there is something which is essential to be presented. So please bear with my frog also.
Street desperately tried to build to get to the receding shoreline. Making mistakes in our dealings with nature can have bigger consequences now because our technologies are often bigger than the human scale. When you put them all together, they've made us a force of nature. And this is also a political issue. This is a computer map of the world that distorts to show the relative contributions to global warming. In our country, we are responsible for more than all of South America, all of Africa, all of the Middle East, all of Asia, all combined. The per capita average in Africa, India, China, Japan, EU, Russia, there's where we are, way, way above everyone else. If you take population into account, it's a little bit different. China's playing a bigger role. So is Europe. But we are still, by all odds, the largest contributor. And so it is up to us to look at how we think about it, because our way of thinking is the third and final factor that transforms our relationship to the earth. If a frog jumps into a pot of boiling water, it jumps right out again because it senses the danger. But the very same frog, if it jumps into a pot of lukewarm water that is slowly brought to a boil, will just sit there and it won't move. It'll just sit there even as the temperature continues to go up and up. It'll stay there until it's rescued. It's important to rescue the frog. But the point is this. Our collective nervous system is like that frog's nervous system. It takes a sudden jolt sometimes before we become aware of a danger. If it seems gradual, even if it really is happening quickly, we're capable of just sitting there and not responding and not reacting.
I think what he says is that we are thick-skinned. Sometimes it is good to be thick-skinned, but when we realize that the global warming is there, it is making an impact. But since we are thick-skinned, we don't realize unless we get a shock. And if you, as a professional, as an individual, or any capacity, if you do not by your actions reduce carbon dioxide, these are writings on the wall. What is going to happen? And let me not make a prediction. I am not a Nostradamus, but certainly Nostradamus and I share a common birthday. But these are writings on the wall. You don't need any prediction of this. Just two more clips to make you understand how important the carbon dioxide is and what is our role as professional to mitigate and find out ethical solutions so that we have a healthy environment.
So we started measuring carbon dioxide in 1958. And you can see that by the middle 60s, when he showed my class this image, it was already clear that it was going up. I respected him and learned from him so much. I followed this. And when I went to the Congress in the middle 1970s, I helped organize the first hearings on global warming and asked my professor to come and be the lead-off witness. And I thought that would have such a big impact, we'd be on the way to solving this problem, but it didn't work that way. But I kept having hearings, and in 1984, I went to the Senate and really dug deeply into this issue with science roundtables and the like. I wrote a book about it, ran for president in 1988, partly to try to gain some visibility for that issue. And in 1992, went to the White House. We passed a version of a carbon tax and some
Not my fault.
other measures to try to address this. Went to Kyoto in 1997 to help get a treaty that's so controversial in the US at least. In 2000, my opponent pledged to regulate CO2, and then that was not a pledge that was kept. But the point of this is, all this time, you can see what I have seen all these years. It just keeps going up. It is relentless. And now we're beginning to see the impact in the real world. This is Mount Kilimanjaro more than 30 years ago and more recently. And a friend of mine just came back from Kilimanjaro with a picture he took a couple months ago. Another friend, Lonnie Thompson, studies glaciers. Here's Lonnie with a last sliver of one of the once mighty glaciers. Within the decade, there will be no more snows of Kilimanjaro. This is happening in Glacier National Park. I climbed to the top of this in 1998 with one of my daughters. Within 15 years, this will be the park formerly known as Glacier. Here is what's been happening year by year to the Columbia Glacier. It just retreats every single year. And it's a shame because these glaciers are so beautiful, but those who go up to see them, here's what they're seeing every day now. Drinking water from rivers and spring systems that are fed more than half by the meltwater coming off the glaciers. And within this next half century, those 40% of the people on Earth are going to face a very serious shortage because of this melting. Italy, the Italian Alps, same site today. An old postcard from Switzerland. Throughout the Alps, we're seeing the same story. It's also true in South America. This is Peru 15 years ago and the same glacier today. This is Argentina 20 years ago, same glacier today. 75 years ago in Patagonia on the tip of South America, this vast expanse of ice is now gone. There is a message in this. It is worldwide. In 1992, they measured this amount of melting in Greenland. 10 years later, this is what happened. And here's the melting from 2005. Tony Blair's scientific advisor has said that because of what's happening in Greenland right now, the maps of the world will have to be redrawn. If Greenland broke up and melted, or if half of Greenland and half of West Antarctica broke up and melted, this is what would happen at this level in Florida. This is what would happen to San Francisco Bay. A lot of people live in these areas. The Netherlands, one of the low countries, absolutely devastating. The area around Beijing that's home to tens of millions of people. Even worse, in the area around Shanghai, there are 40 million people. Worse still, Calcutta and to the east, Bangladesh, the area covered includes 60 million people. Think of the impact of a couple 100,000 refugees when they're displaced by an environmental event. And then imagine the impact of 100 million or more. Here's Manhattan. This is the World Trade Center Memorial Site. And after the horrible event of 9/11, we said never again. But this is what would happen to Manhattan. They can measure this precisely, just as the scientists could predict precisely how much water would breach the levees in New Orleans. The area where the World Trade Center Memorial is to be located would be underwater. Is it possible that we should prepare against other threats besides terrorists? Maybe we should be concerned about other problems as well.
So I think one do understand if we have to survive, perhaps we have to find ways to reduce carbon emissions into the atmosphere. And as 40% of the greenhouse gases are due to architecture and planning, our responsibility is on much a higher side. And moreover, with the Prime Minister's vision of a Viksit Bharat, there is going to be rapid industrialization, which we cannot avoid. And rapid industrialization would mean a lot of carbon emissions into the atmosphere. So one has to really find ethical solutions, whatever we design and do. And since we are all students of architecture and planning, we should design our buildings in a manner that we reduce the carbon emissions. Otherwise, it is going to be difficult for us to survive too. As far as architecture, I think when we design buildings, we need to simulate the buildings and find a way to produce buildings which are green buildings, which have minimum carbon emissions into the atmosphere. But at the same time, while I say that, there is another phenomena which happens, which human beings have no control over that. There is another phenomena which is called as the sun flares, and which is beyond the control of human beings. There are a lot of nuclear bombardments on the sun at times, and when these kind of sun flares happen, the temperature of the atmosphere go up, which is certainly beyond us. Now, once the temperatures go up, what happens to the oceans? They get heated up. And oceans are high reservoirs of carbon dioxide. And these lot of carbon emissions take place because the temperature has risen, not because of the carbon dioxide coming first, but the temperatures coming first and carbon coming later on. But anyway, whether it is in our control or not, we have to, by our actions, reduce the carbon emissions. I mean, these are some very interesting installation at the Kala Ghoda festival at Bombay, where students of architecture has demonstrated sensitivity to the ecological balance of the earth. And one installation does say the earth is in ICU. So just to, the last part of the presentation is how as architects we can make our buildings very green, which has got the minimum carbon emissions. My case study is about hospitality buildings, which are hotels, luxury hotels, because they are high energy intensive. And because of air conditioning, I think 40% of the load comes from air conditioning, and that is one of the cause for carbon emissions. So what we should do is we should try and assess what is the carbon emissions due to our design principles. So what I had done is I had picked up and created 5 patterns of a hotel building in different shapes and try to orientate and try to simulate the building for carbon emissions. So the assumption that all the patterns have got same area and they have got same facilities and same finishes. So what we do is, number one, we initially have always been talking about the operational energy of a building. And we have been talking about energy efficiency of a building, but we have ignored the important aspect, which is the embodied energy of the materials. Embodied energy is that some energy is used in the production of the material also, and that energy is also a part of it. In a hospitality buildings, the embodied energy is about 10 years of the annual energy consumption of a building, which is a huge. Unless we see the impact of this embodied energy, one cannot assess the building for carbon emissions. So we make an inventory of all the materials, apply the embodied energy to find out what is the total embodied energy of a building, and then try and work out the carbon emissions. So you'll find that different materials have got different embodied energy. Aluminium is one of them which has got the highest embodied energy. So these are the 5 patterns. I'll quickly go through it. This is pattern number 1. This is second, which has got double loaded corridor. The previous one was single loaded corridor. The third one was an L shape. Then you have got the atrium and courtyard, and similarly 5. And then these buildings were simulated for 5 climatic zones in 16 orientations to find out the most optimal orientation of a building. And if you look at this, all the simulations were done for all climatic zones. We were studied the impact of insolation on this, studied the impact of daylight factor into this. We studied that by changing different materials from bricks to stones to cavity walls to aerated concrete blocks. And then after doing about thousands and thousands of simulations, we could find out that what is the global warming potential of a building, This is a very simple formula, which is now, after all these thousands of simulations, we found out that the one building is producing the minimum carbon emissions into this. So what is there is, number one is E1. E1 is the basically how much is the primary energy throwing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So if a building is using about 100 kilowatt hours of energy, it is throwing approximately 100 kg into the atmosphere. So once you know the primary energy, you can certainly find out what is the carbon emissions due to your primary energy. That is number one. And the number two is embodied energy, which is primarily the energy required to construct the materials. So once we know the primary energy, we can certainly find out, again by applying the formula of 1 kilo per kilowatt hour, you can find out the total carbon emissions. So once you know the carbon emissions, N1, N2, N3 are the weighting factor. How much each element has got a weightage in the 100% weightage. So what we found out, the baseline operation, the minimum operational energy was 162 kilowatt hour of energy per square meter annually. This is the baseline operation, which means the building with the minimum consumption of operational energy. So once you have got 162 kilowatt hours, 1 kilowatt hour throws about zero point 0.9 kilograms of carbon dioxide. So we can find out what is the carbon emissions due to the primary energy. And then we come down to the baseline embodied energy, that what is the embodied energy of the material, how much energy has been consumed in producing that, and once we know that how many kilowatt hours per square meter, then again you multiply by 0.9 to find out the total carbon emissions. Okay? So once we know these figures, and now when you design a building in a different climatic zones, what you do is now 0.83, this is according to my calculation, in operational energy contributes to 83% of the carbon emissions. And similarly, due to energy of the materials, it is 0.115. And while you manufacture a component, there is a primary energy plus the emissions of carbon due to the process. So when you add all these things together, you get what is called as the Energy and Environment Performance Index, which is the global warming potential of a building. So it comes to, for example, the lowest building comes to 1.23. And if you look at all the climatic regions, you will find that the Bangalore has got almost 1, whereas Bombay has got 1.5. So if by using these simple methodology and the formula, if your building has got a global warming potential between 1 and 1.5, it is a green building. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful and informative session. Now I would request the backend team to kindly draw the curtains. Before we move forward, we have been joined by architect Gajanand Ram, guest of honor, Nish IPM 2025. I would request conference co-convener Dr. Tara Singla to present him with bouquet and registration. Architect Gajanand Ram is the Vice President of the Council of Architecture, COA, elected in April 2023.
Correct. The Dean of our School of Architecture is also the chief architect of this campus. Talk about learning from the source. Welcome to the School of Design and Architecture.
Chale mariachi!
And it's not just bricks and mortar, it's bytes and pixels too. We've got AI assisted design right in our curriculum. Imagine designing a house with an AI sidekick. We even freelance or consult while still studying. Earn while you learn is real here. I'm designing a cafe as a second year student for a real client. Talk about multitasking. Yes, those earnings can help fund my tuition. My parents love that part. Apart from the unparalleled curriculum, our students go through industry-leading certifications, MOOCs, hackathons, competitive events, workshops, educational trips, community projects, projects with NGO, and I'm barely scratching the surface here. Now to travel, our students go places, literally. International placements in Germany, UK, Italy, you name it. One semester you're sketching in Punjab, and the next you might be interning in Milan or Berlin. Global opportunities and authentic pizza. Now that's a sweet deal. If you've got two workshops, an assignment deadline, a guest lecture with an industry expert, a client meeting, and a competitive pitch all in one day, what would you call that day? Here at LPU, we call it just another day. This is where you'll be studying design and architecture. With 150 different disciplines and 37,000 students spread across hundreds of acres, the state-of-the-art campus. That's enough land and people to start a small civilization. At LPU School of Design and Architecture, you get the tech, the travel, and the real world experience to design your own story. You saved your spot at the drafting table. Come design your story with us.
studio obviously is one of the best things to happen to independent music.
Crowd here looks fabulous. There's a very, very huge crowd out here.
मेरी कला है समय को वालों को दे रहा हूँ
Right now, and the crowd.
Thousand plus audience like here tonight, and the energy. It was a super night. I lost my voice. Thank you.
We shall shortly be joined by the worthy Pro-Chancellor of Lovely Professional University, Dr. Colonel Rashmi Mittal. So once she is in the auditorium, I request all the guests, students, faculty, and participants to kindly stand on your respective seats and welcome her with a huge round of applause. I request the control team to kindly switch off the stage lights. On behalf of Lovely School in Architecture and Design, I would like to extend a warm welcome to Professor Charanjit Singh Shah, Chief Guest, NIST IPM 2025, Director, Creative from New Delhi. I would request Shah is an architect, planner, and infrastructure expert with 5 decades of practice. He is an author, scholar, educationist, teacher, art and architect. We are glad to have you here with us today, sir. I request all the students to kindly take their seats. I request all the faculty members to make sure the reorganizing of the seating arrangements and students to kindly cooperate and please be seated on their respective sections. Kindly stand and welcome our worthy Pro Chancellor. Guests, Professor Charanjit Singh Shah, Major General Balwinder Singh, Architect Gajanand, Professor Anurag Roy, and Professor Sri Kumar Gupta to kindly grace the stage. I request the faculty and the student volunteers to escort our guest on the stage. Professor Charanjit Singh Shah, Major General Balwinder Singh, Architect Gajanand Ram, Professor Anurag Roy, and Professor Sri Kumar Gupta. Dr. Monica Gulati, ma'am, the sister, are kindly place the speaker. I request all the students to kindly maintain the decorum in the auditorium. As soon as we have our chief guest, for the Pro Chancellor ma'am in the auditorium, I request everyone to give a warm and a huge round of applause to her and welcome her. I request all the students to please be seated. I request all the students kindly stand and give a very warm welcome to our worthy Pro-Chancellor of Lovely Professional University, the esteemed part of this international conference. Request all the students, faculty, and guests to kindly give a very warm welcome to our worthy Pro-Chancellor of Lovely Professional University and the esteemed patron of this international conference, NISH IPM 2025, Dr. Colonel Rashmi Mittal. A huge round of applause. As we embark on this exciting journey, it is my distinct honor to welcome a true guiding light of excellence, leadership, and inspiration, worthy Pro-Chancellor of Lovely Professional University and the esteemed patron of this NISH IPM 2025, Dr. Colonel Rashmi Mittal. Worthy Pro-Chancellor Dr. Colonel Rashmi Mittal's unwavering commitment to academic excellence and innovation has not only shaped the culture of design education at our university, but has also laid the foundation for global dialogues like the one we are part of today. Her vision has continually inspired students, faculty, and industry experts alike to push boundaries, foster innovation, and stay rooted in the values that define meaningful design. At this moment, I would like to request Dr. Monica Gulati, Registrar LPU, and Dr. Tara Singla, HOD Architecture, to kindly come forward and present a warm welcome to our worthy Pro Chancellor, ma'am, as a token of our deep respect, gratitude, and admiration. I request all of you to kindly give a huge round of applause and a very warm welcome. By your presence here, your continued support, mentorship makes occasions like this not just possible but truly impactful. On behalf of all the participants, faculty, organizers, and our distinguished guests from across the globe, I extend a heartfelt and respectful welcome to you, Dr. Colonel Rashmi Mittal, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm truly honored to stand before you and introduce a remarkable book that is about to take its first step into the world. I request our worthy Pro-Chancellor, ma'am, and all the dignitaries to kindly step ahead on the stage for the unveiling of the abstract book launch. I request the student volunteers to kindly hand over the abstract book to our dignitaries, and I respect all our keynote speakers and guests to kindly join our dignitaries on the stage. I request all of you to please keep the applause going. Yes. Abstract book launch for the Niche IPM 2025 edition. Along with the official book launch of the Niche IPM 2025, we have a launch. We have a launch of another book, Planning for Sustainable Cities, written and edited by Dr. Architect Atul Kumar Pingla and Architect Jeet Kumar Gupta. So please keep the applause going, everyone. I request everyone to please pose for the group photograph.
I'm proud to share that the school has been involved over the year in many activities, international and studio related. Our first book done by the students is Alex 2024. It is basically a bilingual book and it has been published student books and it was an excellent exhibition which has culminated into a bilingual book with students from Spain. We have that, uh, and Alcala's name. Then we have High Rise Studio, the facade and high rise building book, which is basically the studio work of third year and fourth together. And it's done by the students themselves. We have more than 100 students and
Speakers and session chairs to kindly take their seats on the front. I request all of you to kindly wait and pose for the group photograph so that we can proceed further. Very warm thank you to all the guests and dignitaries for doing the honors. Now, I request all the dignitaries to kindly take the seat on the stage and keynote speaker and session chairs to be seated at the front row in the auditorium. I would request worthy Pro-Chancellor Ma'am, respectable Dr. Jaspal Sandhu and Dr. Monica Gulati, come ahead for the felicitation ceremony. It is with great pleasure and honor that we gather here today to extend our heartfelt welcome and felicitate distinguished guests who have graced us with their presence at this concert. First and foremost, we have Professor Charanjit Singh Shah, Director, Creative Group. Please keep the applause going, everyone. Thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time joining us today here at NISH IPM 2025. Next up, we have Major General Balwinder Singh joining us today. Please give him a huge round of applause, Major General Balvinder Singh. He is the recipient for the Vishesh Seva Medal. Please keep the applause going, everyone. Thank you, sir, for gracing the occasion today with your presence. Next up, we have Architect Gajanand Ram, Vice President, COA, Council of Architecture, Delhi. Please welcome him with a huge round of applause. Next up, we have Professor Anurag Roy. Please welcome him with a huge round of applause. All these eminent guests and dignitaries have spared their valuable time and made this Shine 2025 a success with their benign presence. Please keep the applause going, everyone. Next, Sir Jeet Kumar Gupta. Mr. Jeet Kumar Gupta, architect, town planner, scholar, academician. Next up, I would like to invite on stage Dr. Minakshi Singhal, Associate Professor, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. Please welcome her with a huge round of applause. Singhal, Professor, Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. Request everyone to please keep the applause going for the guests and the dignitaries. Next, I would like to invite on stage architect Sanjay Goyal, former director, Smart City Ludhiana, and principal architect, Zynex. Please give him a huge round of applause. Architect Venkateshwar Raja, I would like to request you to please come on stage, sir. He is an LSAT alumni as well. Please give him a huge round of applause. Welcome him with a huge round of applause as well. Sonam Wangchu as well for his achievements in the field of architecture and design. Applause going everyone. Architect Soumya Shri. She is also an LSAD alumnus, so please welcome her with a huge round of applause. but not the least, Mr. Simranjeet, I would request you to kindly come on stage, sir. Please welcome him with a huge round of applause. Mr. Simranjeet, I would request all the guests, dignitaries, keynote speakers, and session chairs to kindly come on stage for the group photograph with our worthy Pro-Chancellor, ma'am. I request the HODs and student volunteers to please escort the guests on stage, please. Everyone, please keep the applause going for the dignitaries and the guests for Nish IPM 2025. Once again, on behalf of all the participants, faculty, organizers, and our distinguished guests from across the globe, I extend the heartfelt and a very respectful thank to our worthy Pro-Chancellor, Dr. Colonel Rashmi Mittal, for gracing the occasion and making the conference factful and interactive. Thank you, ma'am, for your benign presence. I request all the students and faculty to kindly keep the applause going for our esteemed patron of this conference, Dr. Colonel Rashmi Mittal, for bestowing her presence and blessings. Arrived. Session. I request Tara Sikha, HOD Architecture and Research Miss IT 25, presents the formal slogan.
Yes, I hope we are still awake and not that hangry. So I understand events can be overwhelming sometimes, and not to cause any further delay in all of this, I especially want to thank our Vice Chancellor Sir, worthy Pro Chancellor Ma'am, and our Registrar for gracing this occasion not once but twice. Tomorrow, I think we'll have the esteemed presence of our Honorable Chancellor too. So I would request the students to have lots of food right now and charge themselves because they have to show what they have been up to all our guests tomorrow. Before the valedictory is an exhibition round. So I would love for students to interact with all our guests, all our experts, show them around the block, all the work that you have been doing in the past 6 months. And I'm so thankful to all our senior guests, dignitaries present here. If I take their names, I'm sure it's going to take another 10 minutes. So I would be thanking him all in detail tomorrow, but thank you so much for bearing with us. I would love that everybody can have their lunch now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, it has been an absolute pleasure having all of the students here. Thank you so much.
Before we convene for lunch, I request everyone to kindly stand for the national anthem before we formally close. Thank you, one and all. Students, kindly proceed to the basement of 29th block for your lunch. And I request our faculty coordinators and student volunteers to escort our guests and dignitaries for their lunch at the respected venue. Thank you, one and all.